Imagine this, it's 5 a.m. The alarm rings. One person hits snooze and promises they'll start tomorrow. Another person gets up immediately. Not because they are motivated, not because they are special, and definitely not because they enjoy suffering. So what's the difference? Why can some people quit smoking after 20 years, lose 50 pounds, build $1 million business, wake up at dawn every day and stay disciplined for decades, while others struggle to keep a promise to themselves for even a week? Most people believe these individuals have strong willpower. Psychologists discover something much more surprising. The people with the strongest will aren't fighting themselves all day. In fact, they rarely need willpower at all. And once you understand the hidden psychology behind an iron will, you'll never look at discipline the same way again. Because the truth is, iron will isn't something you are born with. It's something your brain can be trained to develop. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how. Let's start with part 1. Here's a myth.
How do you live?
Well, I live with the confidence if I believe in myself, the money will follow.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
Most people think disciplined individuals constantly win battles against temptation. They imagine successful people waking up every morning and heroically forcing themselves to difficult things. But reality looks very different. Researchers studying high performance found something fascinating. Disciplined people don't spend more time resisting temptations. They spend less time being tempted. Think about that. The average person relies on motivation. People with iron will rely on systems. A person trying to eat healthy might keep cookies in the kitchen and fight cravings every night. A person with iron will simply doesn't buy the cookies. One fights temptation, the other removes temptation. And that's the first psychological secret. People with iron will understands that every decision drains mental energy. So instead of constantly battling themselves, they redesign their environment because they know something most people forget. The strongest warrior isn't the one who wins every battle. It's the one who avoids unnecessary battles altogether. Part 2. They don't trust their feelings. Here's something that sounds strange. People with iron will don't trust themselves. At least not their emotions. Because emotions change, goals don't. Think about how often your feelings shift. One day you're excited, the next day you are tired. One day you're motivated, the next day you feel lazy. If our actions depend on emotions, your future becomes unpredictable. People with iron will understands a powerful truth. Feelings are temporary. Commitments are permanent. When they don't feel like exercising, they exercise. When they don't feel like studying, they study. When they don't feel like working, they work. Not because they are robots, because they've stopped negotiating with temporary emotions. Most people ask, do I feel like doing this today? People with iron will asks, does this move me closer to who I want to become? One question creates excuses. The other creates results. Part 3. The identity effect. Now we are getting to the most important psychological principle. Identity. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. Offer a cigarette to first person. He says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Offer it to the second person. She says, no thanks, I don't smoke. The behavior looks identical. The psychology is completely different. The first person is fighting an old identity. The second person has created a new one. People with iron will don't focus on what they want to achieve. They focus on who they want to become. A person who wants to run a marathon asks, how can I run? A runner asks, what would a runner do? A person who wants to get rich asks, how can I make money? A wealthy thinker asks, what decision would my future self make? Every action becomes easier when it's connected to identity. Because human beings have deep psychological need to remain consistent with how they see themselves. If you believe you are lazy, your brain searches for evidence. If you believe you are disciplined, your brain searches for evidence too. That's why one small action can be life-changing. Reading one page doesn't make you intelligent, but it proves you're a reader. One workout doesn't transform your body, but it proves you are someone who trains. And every proof strengthens identity. Identity strengthens behavior. Behavior strengthens identity. And eventually, discipline becomes automatic. Part 4. The master delayed gratification. For example, in the 1960s, psychologists conducted one of the most famous experiments ever. A child sits in a room. A marshmallow is placed on the table. The researcher says, you can eat it now, but if you wait a little longer, you'll get 2. Some children eat it immediately, others wait. Years later, researchers followed their lives. The children who learned to delay gratification often performed better academically, professionally, and personally. Why? Because success in almost every area of life requires sacrificing a small pleasure today for a bigger reward tomorrow. Saving money, building muscles, learning skills, starting a business, creating content. Everything valuable works this way. Yet our brains are wired for immediate rewards. Social media, fast food, endless entertainment, instant dopamine. People with iron will aren't immune to these temptations. They simply train themselves to think beyond the present moment. While others ask, what do I want now? They ask, what do I want most? That single shift changes everything. Because every major achievement is built upon thousands of moments where long-term goals defeated short-term desires. Part 5. They become comfortable with discomfort. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, but growth hides inside discomfort. Think about it. The gym is uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. People speaking is uncomfortable. Building a business is uncomfortable. Rejection is uncomfortable. Yet, these are the exact activities that create extraordinary lives. People with iron will understand the psychological principle called adaptation. The more exposure you have to discomfort, the less power it has over you. The first cold shower feels terrible. The 10th feels normal. The first workout feels exhausting. The 100th feels routine. The first video feels terrifying. The 15th feels natural. Confidence isn't born. It's earned through repeated exposures. Every time someone willingly does something difficult, their brain learns a valuable lesson. I can handle more than I thought. And the belief becomes a source of incredible mental strength. So what creates an iron will? It's not genetics. It's not motivation. It's definitely not luck. People with iron will remove temptation instead of fighting it. Trust commitments more than emotions. Build powerful identities. Choose long-term rewards over instant pleasures and become comfortable with discomfort. But perhaps the most important lesson in this: nobody starts with an iron will. Every disciplined person was once undisciplined. Every confident person was once insecure. Every successful person was once a beginner. The difference is that they kept one promise to themselves, then another, until discipline stopped being something they did and became someone they were. So here's the question. What one promise you have been postponing? One action you have been avoiding? One decision your future self desperately wants you to make? Whatever it is, start today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because an iron will isn't built in a single moment. It's forged one decision at a time. And the next decision is yours.